Alrighty. This is a little bit awkward for me to come back to recording Saya No Uta, but you know, it's been a really long time since I went back and uploaded. I think the last time I uploaded the Saya No Uta part was, I believe it was around October 31st of 2025. And the thing is that most of the time I record and I upload really late. Like the part 10, for example, I'm pretty sure I had to like pixelate the video twice in order to make it seem like it's somewhat monetizable in the way. Although a lot of the times when I pixelate the videos, it still remains the same no matter what. Not really sure, but I do think most of the time when it comes to these videos, I think I had like some of the videos pixelated out, and over half of it got like demonetized anyway, so it doesn't really seem to matter. All I remember from the story, I think I had to go back and look back in it. All I remember was that Koji and Ryoko, and when I say Ryoko, I mean the doctor. Both Koji and Ryoko were able to find Dr. Agai's lab before Fuminori, and I do think Fuminori is like more antagonist as the story progresses on, and Koji is just might as well become the protagonist. So it's like I guess it feels a little bit more of a reverse kind of thing. What was her name? I think it's Omi, right? Yeah, Omi, who got turned into like minced meat and the such, after when knowing that Koji opened up the refrigerator. So that's really something else. And then we got to the part where with the dialogue choice, whether you can call up Fuminori or call up Ryoko. I do think calling up Ryoko makes it so that he has the upper hand, while calling up Fuminori make it seem like he has to fight on by himself, while Ryoko gets like additional help. So we can do Ryoko, and then we can do Fuminori next. I guess we'll see. Let's see how that one goes. Also, I'm waiting for the files to be moved to my new terabyte drive. And when I say my terabyte external hard drive, I mean the 5 terabyte one. It's weird because it says 4.54 terabyte, even though it's supposed to be a 5 terabyte. I feel like no matter what, like if you buy like a 6 terabyte, it's going to be like what, 5.4 terabyte or some shit like that. I don't get why they do things like that. So basically, you lose like 10% worth of, storage per se. But oh well, let's give this a shot. See how this goes. The ringing of her cell phone interrupts Ryoko's labors. When she sees that the caller is Tono Koji, she unwittingly breathes a sigh of relief. And and even if Fuminori finds the Dr. Agai first, he's already ripped out into a skeleton, so it's not like there's any sort of hope. But there was a lot of lab-related stuff in which Ryoko already destroyed anyway. Even over the phone, Ryoko can hear the change in Koji's tone. His is the dull, flat voice of someone who has had all the energy beaten out of him. He's eating them like a cannibal. No words. His first steps into Ryoko's world have already brought him face to face with something particularly gruesome. In consideration of his probable state of mind, she decides to say nothing. It's like, I was a fool all along.
君は生きているうちにこの電話をかけてきたんだから、まだ致命的な間違いを犯したわけじゃない。
Ryoko says, praising Koji in her own way. Whether he is comforted or not is up to him.
ともかく、もう今度こそ間違うな。私が戻るまで動くんじゃない。君が相手にしているやつは、一筋縄じゃいかない相手だ。
With her understanding of Saya deepening by the hour, Ryoko is able to make this declaration with new confidence. Koji's actions were rash, but there's no point regretting them now. The more proactive approach would be to use the pressure that he's placed on Fuminori. Ryoko's involvement is still a secret. That makes her a wild card. Depending on how she plays it, this advantage could be decisive. Ryoko answers, glancing sidelong at the loose leaf pages still scattered across the table.
夜までには目処をつけて、夜半には東京に戻ろう。それまで君は余計なことをせず、おとなしくしている。いいね。
はい。The lack of emotion in Koji's voice is actually reassuring to Ryoko. He's a machine now, able to do whatever it takes to accomplish a single goal, the extermination of Sakisaka Fuminori. He is even willing to accept help from Ryoko, whose principles hardly mesh with his. A praiseworthy change indeed. After Ryoko hangs up the phone, she gloomily counts the stacks of loose leaf that still need to be restored. There's no time left. She'll only be able to get the general picture. If she has to go into battle with only fragmentary knowledge, then there's one thing that she absolutely must decipher. Ogai's biological reports, which should contain information on the strengths and weaknesses of the organism called Saya. Well, there's one thing in mind that why she got the upper hand, because she was able to find the underground lab of the sort, in which, crazily enough, I didn't even know there would be an underground lab of the sort within like a well. I'm assuming, if I remember correctly. Dang. I mean, all she can do now is pray for luck as she dives back into the mountains of paper. Damn, like I could have sworn they were able to find the lab because of some passageway in a well. Look, it's been so long since I've picked it up. I stopped around with the endings. Hopefully, the endings doesn't have anything for me to fucking pixel out, because I'm not a really big fan of that. Today was the first time I've driven since my accident last summer. The proposition was always too dangerous to consider, given my inability to recognize roads and cars. Things have changed, however, in the 3 months I've had to adapt to my condition. I know what cars and pedestrians look like now, and even though I can't exactly see colors, I've learned to decipher lights and turn signals. Damn, even with this weird-looking vision on this part. I still can't read street signs, of course. Nevertheless, I managed to make it safely to our destination with Saya and Yo in the backseat. It was Saya who came up with the idea for our new hideout, an abandoned building she discovered while living with Dr. Ogai. In these hilly suburban residential areas, it's not hard to find thick patches of undeveloped forest just off the beaten path. Saya's old playground, quote unquote, is located in one such secluded area, unaffected by the flow of everyday life. Wait a minute, this is not the abandoned cabin. Is this supposed to be the abandoned clinic or something? It used to be a privately operated sanatorium hidden among the silent trees. After the owners went bankrupt, it remained unsold and was eventually forgotten. Wow. I wonder how many buildings out there that are like that. After I left Saya and Leo at the hideout, I returned to town to make some preparations, and I'm finally back at our new refuge. Yeah, for now, I mean... Unless... it won't be long until somebody... somebody gonna GPS track your ass. That's all I can say. I like this ruin from the moment I saw it. Mountains of construction materials and garbage littered the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. This place looks even less likely to receive unwanted attention than our house. Since my brain sees humans as revolting monsters, they've been tend to stink or seem covered in filthy slime. Ruins like these, long empty of life, are the places I find the most restful.
Tadaima.
I call out to let them know I'm not a stranger. Then I go down to the basement where they're hiding.
おかえりなさい。車平気だった？
もう全然問題ない。一方通行の標識もどういうのか分かったし、スピードさえ出さなければどこを走っても大丈夫だよ。で、そっちは？
I don't know what you mean by pedestrians, because if he has like the perspective of seeing like human beings as like as monstrous, grotesque beings, then and then the traffic lights thing is like, well, I guess that's one thing in mind.
一通り調べたけど、やっぱりあれからずっと人が来た様子はないみたい。ここは安全だよ。
そうか。ならいいんだけど。
I'm a little worried that this abandoned building could become a hangout for biker gangs or homeless people.
多分表に積み上げてあるゴミのせい。あれ普通の人間にはちょっと耐えられないんじゃないかな。
It doesn't bother me at all. I rather like it, in fact, but of course normal people would feel differently.
で、Fuminoriの買い物はいいの見つかった？
ああ、もちろん。
Well, I sure did. I proudly unwrapped the weapon I just bought from a camping goods store. A 1 meter long wood axe. The biggest and sturdiest I could find.
刃渡り15センチ以上のナイフは銃刀法違反だなって張り紙してあるのに、その隣でこんなもの売ってるんだよ。お笑いだよね。
Long knives are illegal? Wait a minute. The biggest is, I mean, he better have the freaking strength to carry it though. I grip the axe with both hands, testing its dependable weight, then swing it like a baseball bat. The deadly steel blade sweeps through the air right where a person's neck would be. Yo, who sprawled out on the floor, flinches at the sound and curls herself into a ball.
切れ味とかどう？用で試してみたら？
いや、それはちょっと。
You would think he would just like, I'm pretty sure a camping store good. I don't even know like the store policy between when it comes to like a camping goods like a sporting goods place. I mean, hold on. Hold on. What did he said something about a camping goods. Yeah, camping goods store. I don't even know like the store difference policy in like Japan and the US, but I'm pretty sure depending on where you go, like I'm they have like a machete or something like that down the line. But, well, long knives are illegal. I mean, I guess a machete is considered a long knife, I suppose. I definitely wasn't expecting Saya to suggest anything so brutal. I mean, it's Saya. What do you expect?
心配いらないよ。今のような体だったら刃物とかの傷は割と簡単に治っちゃうから。
いや、それにしたって痛いだろう。
Yeah, I mean, especially when he has a wood axe. That's pretty hyperbolic of a suggestion right there.
そっか。うん、そうだね。
It must have slipped her mind completely. She smiles at the oblivious Yo as if to hide her embarrassment, and says,
でもさ、痛くされた時のようの声って、それはそれで可愛いよね。
いや、やっぱり人間に斧で切りかかるってのは気が引けるよ。
Yeah, but you would... Yeah, but I'm pretty... You've used the weapon before on that freaking... Oh, neighbor dude. Oh, excuse me. Typical allergies.
そうなの？じゃあ、コウジさんは？
そりゃだって。
That's a pretty obvious question. It should be obvious, but I guess that Saya still doesn't understand.
やつは僕には人間に見えないから、切ろうが潰そうが平気なもんさ。
そんなに違うんだ。
そうさ。人間には良心があるからね。どんなに憎い人間だろうと、人を殺すと思うとブレーキがかかるもんだ。そこが僕の称賛でもある。
本当に？
Saya seems awfully subdued. I guess she's concerned about what'll happen when I have it out with Koji.
体格じゃあいつが上だし、普通に喧嘩したんじゃ勝ち目は薄いかもしれないけどね。でも、僕にとっての化け物退治が、あいつにとっては人殺しなんだ。こいつは大きいよ。あいつはきっと、最後の瞬間で隙を見せる。
なんだか不安なんだよね。そういう心理戦っていうの確実じゃないっていうか。
Saya says softly, staring at the floor with unusual gravity. She raises her head and looks straight at me.
ねえ、やっぱり私が買った方が良くない？
I appreciate Saya's consideration, even though it could be interpreted as a lack of faith in me. She's still putting my safety above hers. Nevertheless, I can't accept her heartfelt suggestion.
鞘の腕力だとさ、ヨウみたいな女の子なら楽にねじ伏せられるだろうけど、男を相手には厳しいと思うんだ。
I mean, it doesn't help that Koji also has a weapon. The bitter memory of Saya's her grape is still fresh in my mind. Saya falls silent for a moment, seeming to understand what I'm thinking, but then comes right back to stubbornly press her case.
でもね、あのおじさんも最初の不意打ちはうまくいったの。大抵の人間はね、作用を見たら力が抜けて動けなくなっちゃうんだよ。病院だってそうだった。平気で話しかけてきたのってFuminoriだけだよ。
まあ、それも一理あるかもな。
Well, I guess you have a point. Typical. I can't imagine it personally, but I suppose it's possible that Saya's appearance is shocking enough to make someone lose their nerve. Suzumi was able to gain the advantage because he had the same condition as me, which led him to see Saya as a cute girl. Fear doesn't necessarily make people weaker, however. Depending on the situation, it can even send someone into a berserk rage and make them harder to put down. In other words, such a tactic would be the same sort of gamble that Saya is worried about.
じゃあさ、Saya、こういうのはどうだろうか。
When I tell Saya the new plan, that just popped into my head, her gloomy frown turns into a bright smile.
それめえやん。ふみのりって頭いい。
Well, he didn't even explain the plan, though.
何もそこまで。
He didn't say anything about the plan. Well, it's not exactly a great plan, but I guess the fact that it lessens the risk to me is enough to excite her. She's so easy to please, but that's part of what makes her so cute.
で、いつ頃来るの？コウジさん。
わからない。いずれ奴の方から電話があるだろう。そしたらここに誘い出して仕留める。
We'll see. Koji will come. I know that he won't leave us alone. We could just keep running, now that we started, but I want to eliminate Koji as soon as possible. Therefore, when he contacts me, I intend to meet with him unless it's an obvious trap.
せっかく人間一人分の肉が仕入れられるのに、ここだと腐らせちゃうね。冷蔵庫ないし。
他の動物を誘う餌にできないか？野良猫とかカラスをおびき寄せてさ。
それ危ないよ。万が一取り逃した時、よそに持っていかれて他人に見つかったら大騒ぎになるよ。
そっか。それもそうだ。
Humans are extremely dangerous and their filthy, stinking bodies make me sick just by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to abandon our well-stocked fridge. I'm surprised you didn't even pack up stuff from the fridge. I guess what happens is why am I repeating the word guess right there? Seems those two were in a rush to hurry out and escape.
まあ、この辺だと森にもいろいろと住んでるから、そんなに食事には困らないんじゃないかな。
3人分だよ。大丈夫かい？
任せて。これでもさや、狩りは得意なんだから。頑張っていっぱい捕まえてくるよ。
そうか。じゃあ、今日からはサヤが一家の大黒柱だな。
The breadwinner, unbelievable.
へへ。
Saya giggles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of hers adorable.
今度はどのぐらいのんびりできるかな。
This is what happens when Fuminori is completely lost within his mind. Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emptiness to which her question leads.
どのぐらいかな。
Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we will have to abandon it eventually. The slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy, just like when I failed to silence Koji. I mean, he was that's what happens when you throw him in a well and you didn't even bother. Some dumb kids might decide that this old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for a new development. In order to be together with Saya, I have chosen to live apart from society. We will never find lasting peace in this world teeming with humans, not unless we can somehow escape from it.
長い旅だと思えばいいさ。
I pull Saya into my arms and fold my hands around her slender shoulders, then whisper,
どうせ人生なんて旅みたいなものなんだ。永遠に変わらない場所なんてない。時の流れを見送るか、自分自身が流れていくか、それだけの違いだよ。
そうだよね。
Saya smiles softly, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there is peace and contentment in her expression.
それでも一人ぼっちじゃないし。だからさやは寂しくなんかないよ。ふみのりもそうだよね。
ああ。
I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arms, I will gladly pay any price.
それにね。
And she adds brightly, trying to cheer me up.
いつかは私たちが人目を忍んで暮らさなくてもよくなる日がきっと来るよ。それは約束してあげるから。
Yeah, sure. Sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason she seems absolutely certain.
それは明日かもしれないし、ずっと先のことかもしれない。いつ印が来るのか私にもわからないの。初めてのことだから。ほんのちょっぴり怖いんだけどね。
I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time that she said or done anything or done something mysterious. She's performed any number of miracles already.
僕らにも希望があるのかい?
She says with a cheerful nod.
きっとそれがさやが文則に送ってあげられる最後のプレゼント。さやの最初で最後の務め。
Last present, she says. Ain't that some shit? The hands of his watch moved with agonizing slowness as though counting down to the end of the world. In the hours since contacting Ryoko, Koji went back to his apartment, showered, changed clothes, and even had his first full meal in days. He wanted to take a nap, knowing that he needed to rest, but no matter how hard he tried, sleep never came. Forcing himself to relax only made his nerves colder and sharper. With nothing else to do, he decides to wander the city until nightfall. Downtown Tokyo is bustling, surrounded by smiling pedestrians. Goddamn alarm. Sorry about that. Surrounded by smiling pedestrians, bright lights, and windows decorated early for Christmas. He feels as if all of the happiness in the world has been gathered in this very place. Koji takes it all in, burning it into his memory like it's the last thing he'll ever see. Is the world so beautiful because of the horrors that lurk in its shadows? The glow of the city can no longer warm him. Perhaps that is why it seems so precious. Koji watches this city for hours. It feels unreachably distant, like reading the obituary of someone you loved long ago. His phone rings at 8 p.m. It's Ryoko. Their conversation is short. She hangs up as soon as they decide where to meet. And so ends Tono Koji's final night of peace. Well, that was fast. Ryoko arrives at the diner at 1 a.m., 1 hour later than agreed upon. She has a heavy-looking duffel bag under her arm. Koji doesn't feel like asking what the bulges represent.
すまんね。いろいろと準備に手間取った。
You seem excited. Ryoko doesn't sound at all apologetic, but Koji decides to just nod expressionlessly. Only a few tables are filled at this hour, like lonely islands in the mist. Gosh! I misclicked. Only a few tables are filled at this hour, like lonely islands in the midst of the vast restaurant. After sending the blearily-eyed waitress away with an order for 2 coffees, Koji and Ryoko are left all alone in a corner of the dining area. Koji asks bluntly while sipping dutifully from his 3rd cup of watery, tasteless coffee.
待たせただけの甲斐はあると思いたいね。何分確証を得るまでには至ってないんだが。
Fuminoriも相当じれてると思います。こちらから連絡すると言ったきり、丸1日放置してますからね。
そんなにも彼は君との接触を意識してるのか？
サヤっていう名前には露骨なほど反応してました。
Sure seems like it. In the silence that follows, Koji tries to soothe his parched throat with another mouthful of weak coffee.
そうか。やはりサヤなのか。
It's obvious that her grimace isn't for the coffee.
今なら田んぼ先生はもう答えを知ってるんですね。サヤというのが何なのか。
Koji asks, his tone almost confrontational. Ryoko tries to ignore Koji's question, by nursing her coffee, but that only works until the cup is empty. Staring at the brown stain at the bottom of her cup, Ryoko says, her voice hard and flat.
君は私の忠告を無視した愚か者なわけだが、もう一度だけ証拠りもなく言わせてほしい。殿君、君は手を引いて全てを忘れるべきだ。
証拠りもないですね。
Koji replies, smiling bitterly instead of glaring at her like he did before.
俺がまだ先生や文則とは境界線を挟んだ反対側にいるとでも？
君はまだ一番致命的なものまでは見ていない。君にとってこの事件は無二の親友がいきなり正気を失ってに目覚めたっていう、ただそれだけの内容なんだろ。
Maybe. That's all? The things that Fuminori has done are so horrifying that Koji's only recourse, his only hope of coping, is to kill the man who was once his friend. Yet despite that, Ryoko makes this nightmare sound like just the beginning. Koji still doesn't understand where her morbid cynicism comes from, nor does he want to.
それだけじゃないとしたら、残りは先生の妄想なんじゃないですか。
そう思えるならまだ君の傷は浅いってことさ。
Yeah. Because I'm in my vengeful phase, you know? Her brusque tone says that she doesn't care whether or not Koji is satisfied with her explanation.
今ならまだ時間が君の傷を癒してくれるだろう。君は最後の一線を踏み越えていない。
I mean, his girlfriend got murdered, though. What the fuck? Koji considers murdered and cannibalized. Koji considers Ryoko's words calmly without letting himself get emotional like before. The final line, true, Fuminori is somewhere beyond that. Although Koji has gone far enough to be willing to kill Fuminori, he has no intention of eating his enemy's flesh once he's dead. That at least still separates the two. Then what about Ryoko, who has treated Koji like an ignorant fool ever since she saved him from the well? How close is she to Fuminori?
先生の傷は俺よりも深いと。
In response to Koji's biting question, Ryoko's mocking smile turns inward. I guess he can actually use this thing as a thumbnail. Pretty interesting. In response to Koji's biting question, Ryoko's mocking smile turns
こ
inward.
の銃はね、実家の父のものなんだ。
Ryoko pats one of her duffel bag's bulges.
こいつがロッカーから消えたせいで、父は責任を問われて地元の猟友会から除名させられた。申し訳ないと思ってるよ。私は両親にとっては自慢の娘なんだ。それが金庫の銃を盗み出すなんて想像もしてないだろう。
Huh.
そうするだけの必要が先生にはあったと。
Wait, that's actually pretty silly right there.
いいや、全然。
Her quick denial isn't what Koji was
そ
expecting.
の頃にはもう王外のことは一見落着していた。少なくとも私はそう思っていた。奴は姿を消したきり、もう二度と私の前には現れないだろうと安心してた。この銃で何かを撃とうとか殺そうとか、そういう必要があったわけじゃない。
Okay, then for what purpose then?
じゃあなぜ
I've asked the same question.
眠れなかったんだよ。
Oh,
ただ
that's
それだけ。
that's typical. Ryoko pauses, perhaps needing time to decide how best to explain.
それまではベッドサイドにナタを隠しておいたんだ。夜一人で部屋にいるのが耐えられなくてね。
Almost like a weapon is your companion. She continues choosing her words carefully.
どんなに世界が底抜けにめちゃくちゃになっていこうと、悲鳴を上げて逃げ回る以外の選択肢が自分にはあるんだって。そう納得させるためにはね、部屋の中に何か一つ頼りになる武器を置いておきたかった。
Koji doesn't know what to say. He's amazed, impressed even, that someone with such a serious case of delusional paranoia could function as one of T University's top doctors.
でも、それじゃ大した効き目はなかった。悪夢は日ごとにひどくなっていく一方で。
You know, I'm curious how long the endings are, because I've been going on for over 30 minutes.
安眠するにはナタじゃまだ足りなかったんだ。それで父の銃を盗んできた。こんな風に重心を詰めるとね、散弾がもっと広範囲に飛び散るようになって殺傷力が増すんだそうだ。アメリカでも重罪になる改造なんだとさ。私はそれをクローゼットの奥に突っ込んで、それでようやく眠れるようになったよ。3日に一晩ぐらいはね。
One night out of 3. Oh, look at that smug on her face. What the heck?
銃はいいよ、本当に。
At this point, Ryoko seems to have gotten everything off of her chest. Smiling like someone who just finished a hard job, she adds, "A gun is a great thing to have, you know. It really is." Typical.
相手に向かってぶっ放すもよし、それでダメなら自分の口に突っ込んで引き金を引くっていう選択肢もある。
先生は専門家の治療を受けるべきです。
You need
完
help.
璧な感想ありがとう。でもね、君だって他人事じゃなくなるよ。これ以上先に進むんならね。
Koji is already doubtful that meeting with Ryoko was the right thing to do. The one thing that he and Ryoko have in common is an unwillingness to leave Fuminori to the proper authorities. It's typical. Return. Proper authorities. Fuminori not only killed Koji's lover and friend, but even went so far as to defile their corpses. Koji isn't about to give him the chance to get off on an insanity plea. No matter what crimes he must commit, Koji will end Fuminori with his own two hands. If he doesn't, he knows that he will never sleep again. It hopes to have a partner in crime, but only when that partner doesn't cause trouble. Ryoko talks big about exposing Ogai's secrets, but she might just have a head full of delusions. If so, Koji needs to rethink this whole thing.
この先すべてを先生に任せるというのなら、先生のことを信用させてください。
Koji says with unflappable determination.
先生をそこまで追い詰めるほどのものが、オーガイっていう男に会ったという証拠を、彼が何をしでかしたのか、すべて俺に見せてください。
All right, because the thing is, Ryoko was deciphering the notes, but she didn't share it to Koji.
そこまで言うかね、まったく。
Oh well. Ryoko smirks and shakes her head ruefully, but puts up no further resistance. She pulls a stack of paper from her bag and hands it to Koji. The loose leaf sheets are bound with string.
一行読んだら続きは次のページの同じ行だ。まあ、触りだけでも読んでみるといい。
As directed, Koji looks through the handwritten pages and gives up after less than 3 minutes.
怪奇 SF の走行か何かですか。罪のない悪ふざけですね。彼にはこんな子供っぽい趣味があったわけだ。
That's pretty typical of him to say that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure like the pages were like read out from the earlier parts, but not really sure. Koji deliberately scoffs at the document, doing everything he can to show contempt for what he just read. At the same time, he tries desperately not to remember the mountain of bones in Ogai's bathtub and the unidentifiable smell permeating Fuminori's house.
1年前、オーガイがうちの大学に持ってきた資料も、その文章と同じぐらい突拍子もないものだった。奴は大学の機材を無断で使ってこっそり検査をしようとしたらしい。だがドジを踏んで露見した。そこから先はもう大騒ぎでね。オーガイが使おうとした機材から察するに、奴はそいつを P3 レベルのバイオハザードとして取り扱うつもりだったらしい。
P3 level biohazard.
その程度の用心で十分だったのかどうかも知れたもんじゃないんだが。近隣の住民を退去させるべきだったんだが、まあそこは偉い人たちが偉い人なりに頑張って全部なかったことにしてくれたよ。その代わり私たちはキャンバス中のネズミを一匹残らず駆除する羽目になった。ネズミとかつてネズミだった何かをね。
As their first meeting, Ryoko brushed Koji off when he asked about a guy, Masahiko. Now, however, she's telling the whole story. Her voice is flat and emotionless as a machine's. Rat.
事の究明には結局皆がサジを投げた。オーガイが持ち込んだ資料がどういう起源のものなのか、誰にも突き止めることはできなかった。まあ結局みんな賢明だったわけだ。理性は理性、ざれ言はざれ言。そういう線引きを危うくしないで済む程度ってもんを心得ていた。でもあいにく当時の私はそこまで賢明じゃなかった。
Ryoko pauses for a moment, then grins with self-disdain, so maniacal that it strikes Koji like a blow. Oh yeah, there goes that little smug on her face. Shit-eating grin.
あれこれ探って暴き出して、私はオーガイが何をしていたのか知った。彼が関わっていた連中や彼をそそのかした連中も突き止めた。ナタと添い寝するようになったのはその頃からだ。
So you started sleeping with a machete.
この世の理性ってものがどんなにタガの緩んだ穴だらけの頼りない代物なのか理解するようになったのはね。
To be fair, if you actually go back and read the like Dr. Ogai's motives, it's actually it's a bit bizarre, pretty odd. As though fleeing from the quiet insanity that he keeps glimpsing in Ryoko, Koji finds himself paging through the loose leaf in his hands. He reads a line at random. The organism's flesh is not fibrous, but reticulated. Put simply, it is an extremely tough substance that expands and contrasts not in one direction, but in all directions. This means that slashing or piercing damage has very little effect. Since the flesh can contract in any direction freely, any wound will be sealed instantly. It's nonsense. What else can it be? If he lets himself believe it, then everything else, all the logical rules that define the world, will be rendered meaningless.
じゃあ先生は信じるんですね。この内容を。
疑う理由なんてとっくの昔に見失ったからね。
Ryoko reaches into her duffel bag again, this time removing a stainless steel thermos that looks able to hold about 500 cc's of liquid. Cc's measurement? Oh, I guess. Oh, I guess what she meant was cubic centimeters or whatever you call it. Look, it's not my fault. How was I supposed to know that?
こいつがサヤを倒す切り札だ。調達するのに手間取ったが、多分こいつは敵面に効く。
ついていけません。
Koji snaps, no longer able to disguise his frustration.
サヤが何だろうともうどうでもいいです。俺は文則を終わらせることができればそれでいい。あなたには任せておけません。
I don't care what you say about this Saya thing. All I care about is revenge. Jeez.
そうか。
Now that she's given up on persuading him, her assent is swift and cold. At this moment, Koji's fate has likely ceased to matter to her.
いいだろう。君は先坂文則を仕留めるために全力を尽くすといい。私もその気に乗じさせてもらうとする。君の邪魔はしないし、君が仕損じた時にはきっちりと私が帳尻を合わせてやる。
Despite the determination in her voice, Koji can't bring himself to trust this paranoid doctor completely.
あなたの持ち合わせている理由で文則を殺せるんですか？
潔癖症なんだよ、私は。ああやって人の世界の拉致外に隠れ住んでいるような奴らが我慢ならない。奴らは寝室のゴキブリだ。枕元で傘こそ這い回る音を無視して眠れるか。見つけ次第殺して駆逐する。そうせずにはいられない。私の精神衛生上の問題だ。
Her reasons are similar to Koji's own. He doesn't want to bring a murderer to justice, nor does he want revenge for Omi and Yo. If he did, he could have left everything to the police. The police ain't gonna do shit. The reason he can't is that the villain is Fuminori. The man he believed was his friend has turned his whole world upside down. Everything and everyone with a part in this madness is to blame, and that includes himself for allowing the betrayal. His self-loathing, his desire to destroy, is what's keeping him on his feet.
さあ、それじゃあチェックメイトに駒を進めよう。先坂君を呼び出すといい。
Koji nods, pulls out his cell phone, and calls his friend for what will probably be the last time. The call goes through quickly. Fuminori must have been waiting for it.
待たせたな、文則。こっちの準備は整った。
コージ、今どこにいる？
Fuminori must have been quite anxious to hear from Koji. His voice is hard and completely emotionless.
お前のすぐ背後とでも言っておこうか。
Koji can't help but smile at Fuminori's disappointment. Perhaps Ryoko's maniacal sadism has rubbed off on him.
で、筑波を解放する決心はついたのか？
ああ、背に腹は変えられない。
He's lying, Koji thinks, remembering the contents of Fuminori's refrigerator. Just what part of Yo did you eat, huh? Did you carve that poor girl up like a pig?
お前は集めた資料の全てを証拠ともども持ってこい。その内容を見て納得できたら、僕らは用を引き渡す。
いいだろう。場所は？
まずは応戦の Y 駅まで来い。そこでお前が一人なのを確認してから、詳しい場所を教える。
Yeah, he sure is gonna come alone.
念の言った話だな。
妙な細工はなしだ。45分以内に来い。
Wow, 45 minutes sure is a lot of time. Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response.
俺が単独なのを確認するまで居場所は教えないつもりみたいです。
How's that? I wonder how that would work
た
out.
だの偉大生にしちゃ心得てるな。感心だ。
Ryoko's praise sounds serious, drawing a glare from Koji.
私の車はここに置いていこう。トノ君、君の車のトランクに人一人が入る隙間はあるかい？
大丈夫ですが。正気ですか？映画の見過ぎですよ。
It does seem she watches a lot of action movies and stuff like that. I mean, Ryoko is a lady. Of course she's gonna fit inside a fucking trunk.
そんじょそこいらの映画よりは危険な冒険なんだよ、これは。
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there are a lot of movies out there that could probably sort of resemble something. With those bold words, Ryoko grabs her duffel bag and rises from her seat.
で、この店を待ち合わせに選んだのは君だったな。
そうですが、何か？
コーヒーの責任を取れ。
Oh, right. They're the two. They wanted to have a little strategic meeting or a little strategy meeting, if you could really call it. And the only thing to meet is a public coffee place. Is it coffee place? Or I'm assuming it's like a cafe or a diner or whatever. She says and tosses in the check. Okay, cool. I guess that's something to wrap things up. Alrighty. So we can see, where is the button to save here? Is there? Yeah. Save here. And unlocks the save. Pocket. What else if I delete that? No. Okay, don't delete the save. You just gotta lock the save. Alrighty. So, next part. Well, let's see how the climax of this ending will turn out. I feel like the ending for this one is longer than the other one. I'm hoping the other ending is a bit shorter because it's probably like straight away like that. So that being said, I'm actually a bit tired. But that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and next part we'll see how we'll see how that goes with again the climax, or I guess the final battle of the sword. So have a good one.